I never post on Reddit, and I'm also on mobile, so sorry if the formatting is ugly. Today I experienced the definition of fucking around and finding out. Some backstory. Almost a year ago, my family experienced the loss of my grandpa, my dad's father. It was sudden, and it struck my father really hard. He started having more emotional outbursts, being more reclusive, etc., and we tried our best to be understanding and help him in any way he needed. He found himself a therapist and seemed to be working through a lot of his feelings and thoughts. He still wasn't acting entirely like the him we once knew, but death affects everyone differently, and this made his behavior easy to excuse. My dad and I don't live in the same city, so we often meet up at halfway points for lunch. We have always been close, so it's common for us to talk about our feelings, emotions, and recent life events with each other. Now the story. During our first lunch since my grandpa passed away, I noticed my dad talking a lot about this new girl at his work. We will call her Stacy. He said that Stacy was helping him through a lot of his trauma and was there for him. Stacy's husband had been through some similar traumas that my dad had experienced, and that was being brought up in therapy, so he said she offered him support. He really felt he could be himself around her. He made it abundantly clear that he did not feel he could be himself around his wife of 20 years, my mom, but that he could with Stacy. I thought this was an odd comment to make, and I think this is where my suspicions of their real intentions began, but I knew he was struggling, and it made me feel relieved that he had someone he trusted. It struck me as a little weird that she was 29, but again, sometimes workplaces can create weird and unexpected friendships, and with me being 26, I wondered if maybe he saw her as another daughter since I wasn't able to be around much due to distance. He assured me that Stacy was married to a man named Andrew. They were strictly friends. But in his own words, people from his work had started to think something was going on between them, so they had stopped talking at work and had moved to texting. He even went so far as to say later in the conversation that he thinks a strong marriage should be able to survive someone cheating. I assured him that that wasn't healthy and that I wasn't sure what kind of relationship he wanted with his wife, but I did not want a relationship founded on infidelity. Obviously, my alarm bells were going off. With what little information I had on Stacy, I went and found her online. I stalked her, and just like my dad said, she was seemingly in a happy young marriage with Andrew. She kept her social media pretty private, but from what I could see, she looked like your average 29-year-old woman. I couldn't possibly imagine what she would want with my dad, and if anything, I thought maybe my dad had a work crush that he was reading too much into. No one wants to think that their dad could be capable of a full-blown affair. Over the next few visits with my dad, I would hear him continually talk about Stacy when telling stories about work or talking about his friends. She always seemed to come up. I couldn't help but notice that he would avoid calling her by name. She would just be she or her or girl from work. It's as if he completely forgot the things he had told me about her. Or as if he was afraid to say her name around me. Infidelity is never mentioned again, but he is always talking about how he's fighting with my mom, Lily. As he goes through therapy, she might not like the man he's becoming. He tells me how he's standing his ground and getting into verbal arguments with her. I imagine this is self-sabotage due to his guilt over the cheating. Fast forward to today, it has been about a year since I first heard about Stacy. I went on my laptop, which I do not use often. I opened Instagram, and I realized I still had my dad's login credentials saved on my computer from a one-off back in 2016. My dad is and always has been sketchy with his passwords, so I assumed that likely it wouldn't work, but I tried to log in anyway. To my surprise, I was in. I won't even pretend like I didn't know exactly what I was looking for or like I'm above looking through his DMs. This is also where I fucked around and found out. I opened their DMs, which were pretty bleak at first. I thought that I could rest my suspicions, more like I hoped, until I couldn't. It started out with sending corny photos to each other. Things about you can kiss me whenever you want, I'm yours and your arms feel like home and I'm homesick. Really juvenile, weird shit. Things I wouldn't send to a coworker if you paid me. Still in denial, I kept scrolling, and that was when I saw it. Nudes, from her only thank God, full-blown sexting conversations, conversations about their existing partners and the potential of leaving them for each other, I love yous, conversations with their plans to sleep together for the first time, etc., etc., you get the picture. All of my suspicions were laid out in front of me. He was willing to risk it all for a married woman 3 years older than his daughter. He was willing to hurt the woman he had supposedly loved for 20 years, destroy his family, and destroy Stacy's family for what? Absolute fucking selfishness. The worst part for me was that they actively talk about their existing partners in this chat. Stacy is always making fun of my mom. Does Lily wear lacy bras for you? Does Lily let you go down on her with her bum? As if Stacy couldn't become a more disgusting human. As if she's not already sleeping with a 53-year-old married father of 2, she has to degrade his wife. An innocent victim in this situation. They assure each other that they love their current partners so much that it hurts, and they don't understand how they can have the capacity to love 2 people at the same time. Is disgusting and childish. I don't know how this ends. They still work together and closely together. I cannot bring myself to tell my mom. I don't want my dad to know. I don't want him to feel backed into a corner, like he has to tell my mom. I want him to tell my mom because he knows it's the right thing to do. I have looked up to my dad my whole life, and I feel like the whole view I have had of him as this selfless, loving, caring family man has been shattered. I'm so disappointed in his actions. And I don't know what to do. It's eating away at me. Edit. I was told it would be beneficial to add that my parents do have a kid who is a minor who lives with them. I have not known about this affair the entire time. I found out about it on Thursday, so please stop saying that I'm intentionally holding this secret from my father. My parents share an email account, and I will not see my mom in person until probably Christmas. Update. So, I finally called my mom. Her and my dad had spent the day together at their cottage, so I waited until they were home and then asked if she could go somewhere alone so we could talk on the phone. Her reaction was nothing like I imagined. She sounded like she already knew. Her reaction also made me feel like this wasn't the first time this had happened. She laughed and asked me what I thought I saw. She blamed herself and said that she doesn't meet my dad's needs. I explained to her that that's not fair and that she doesn't deserve to be lied to, cheated on, and put at risk for STDs. I said the way they spoke about my mom in the chat was disgusting and that this was wrong. She asked to see the screenshots, so I sent them to her. She kept reassuring me that she and my dad were in it for the long haul and wouldn't divorce. I told her I didn't care about that. I said that no matter her decision, I supported her either way. Even though it wasn't what I was anticipating, I felt relieved. I felt like a weight had been lifted. She thanked me for telling her and said that I would always be her sweet girl. Everything seemed to be going well until she spoke to or confronted my dad and called me back. I don't know what happened with the conversation between her and my dad, but it's clear that he is a master manipulator and not at all the person I thought he was prior to all this. My mom's tone had completely shifted on the phone. She was scolding me. He confirmed the affair, he confirmed everything I had said and brought forward to her. Somehow, they're blaming me. They're telling me I'm wrong. My mom told me that she'd read all the screenshots I sent but had nothing to say about them. They're staying together, and in her words, this is just a bump in the road. They've had highs and lows, and they'll have lows again. I said I would support her either way, so I can't be mad, but I can't help but be sad at how low she thinks of herself to accept this behavior. I love your dad, and he loves me. What a horrible message to send to your child. She told me that guilt does bad things to people and that she thinks I got myself worked up over nothing. She told me that it was wrong of me to look at his Instagram messages and that it was a breach of trust. Ironic, considering my dad committed the biggest breach of trust there is in a marriage. I also never would have looked at his messages had he not planted the seed of infidelity in my brain. She explained that my dad is very angry with me, and she doesn't know if our relationship is repairable. I assumed my dad would be mad at me, of course, but for my mom to seemingly side with him and turn her back on me too is almost too much to take. I know she's being manipulated, but this is where it ends, I guess. I can't stand to look at either of them. I feel like I was just orphaned. I can't fight a fight someone doesn't want me to on their behalf. Deep down, I know I'm not to blame for this. Don't get me wrong. But it's really hard to not feel awful when your parents, whom you've trusted, turn their back on you. I do feel like I did right by myself in telling my mom the truth, but I can't help but think that everything would have been easier if I never said anything. My dad still follows Stacy. He has blocked me and my fiancée on all social media platforms. He's quite literally showing that he chooses his AP over his daughter. I know he's reacting out of embarrassment and anger, but I've blocked him in return. He doesn't get to choose when he comes back into my life. All of this hurts a lot. Update, 4 months later. Hey, I actually do have a small update if anyone is interested. Sorry, I don't check this Reddit account often. My fiancé and I are still engaged and don't have a set wedding date. When we do get married, it'll be either a small courthouse or an elopement with my family not involved at all. In regard to my dad, short answer? Nope, I'm still an absolute idiot. The long version goes as such. I've been working with a therapist to figure out what I really want to come out of all this and how I can proceed with or without my family. I initially settled on NC with my dad and LC with my mom. After some thinking, I decided that I wanted to have my dad in my life and rebuild at least an amicable relationship with him. I understand that that may not be what everyone would choose, but I really couldn't imagine my big life events and my future without my dad. I reached out to my mom via text and asked her if she believed my dad was still too angry with me to talk. She urged me not to reach out, asked me to continue leaving the door open, and told me that she was encouraging my dad to do the same for me. At that point, I decided that if he had to be encouraged to leave the door open for his only daughter, then maybe it wasn't worth reaching out to him. He ended up texting me the next day that he had unblocked my number, but he wasn't ready to talk. I waited 3 weeks for him to text me but received nothing more. I reached out, just asking for a timeline on when I can expect that he will be ready to talk, and he replied, saying he has been waiting for me to contact him. The conversation started fine. He said he loved me and missed me. He said that we were just going to have to agree to disagree on the whole situation. I explained that wouldn't be happening and that I didn't care about the cheating. That's not my problem. My problem is how he has hurt me and how his silent treatment has affected me. This is obviously not what he wanted to hear. I'll save y'all the nitty gritty. The conversation ended with him saying he was mad at me because I didn't come to him first and give him a chance to come clean, but in the same message, he said that if I had kept my nose out of his business, he would have taken this secret to the grave and that it was me who hurt my mom because I told her. He repeatedly demanded that I apologize to my mom for hurting her and apologize to him for betraying his trust. There was a lot more to the conversation, of course, but to wrap this all up, I double down that I did nothing wrong. He is the one who betrayed his wife, and if my mom would like an apology, she is more than welcome to reach out to me directly. Other than that, we're done here. His number is blocked, and I don't plan on unblocking him. I feel confident in my decision this time. I don't feel like he and I are existing in the same reality. I don't feel like he's the dad I once knew. Sorry, this is so long. And not a happy ending at all, but it does feel nice to get this all out here. Thanks for following along with my story, and I'll do my best to share here if there are any more major updates, but I honestly feel like this might be the end of it all. God, please let it be the end.